Good morning, everyone. And can I say congratulations to you? If you stayed up for the Super Bowl and you're already up at 5:01 on a Monday, you're doing all right. If you're like us and you're coming off of holidays, wouldn't it be nice to have one more morning and spend it right there at the beach? That is such a beautiful shot.
I think you're happy.
I'm happy too. I like this temperature. We know it's short-lived. We will return to regularly scheduled cold weather at some point.
Yeah. We will.
That's where we find our Heather Fordham live this morning.
Woo!
Am I seeing this right? Heather, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Why do you have a snake around your neck? When I went to bed around 9, I was seeing a lot of lightning in the sky, but then I slept fine. I didn't hear anything.
Just like a baby.
Just like a baby. If you have a baby, you realize they don't sleep that well.
Okay,
So I don't understand that.
I must have slept like a baby.
You slept like a baby because you were up all night.
That's right.
Welcome to Spectrum News 1's Storm Season 2023 special. I'm Justin Quesinberry. If you've lived in North Carolina for any number of years, you've likely seen the devastating impacts hurricanes and tropical systems can have on our communities. And for those of you who are newer to our state, there may be factors you haven't considered when it comes to these storms. Spectrum News 1 has tracked these storms for decades, and our team has witnessed firsthand the effects these destructive systems can have on our everyday lives. We'll share stories from the mountains to the coast on how storms have changed people's lives and reshaped the landscape of our state. You'll learn about the efforts to preserve communities that have been around for generations. You'll hear from our weather experts, the largest on-air team of meteorologists in the state. The special is all about helping you better prepare for future storms. We begin on our coast, where at least 4 oceanfront homes in Rodanthe have collapsed since 2022 because of beach erosion. Homeowners are getting ready this hurricane season as their houses remain vulnerable to rough surf and high winds. Spectrum News 1 reporter Lauren Howard spoke with a homeowner about what they're doing to prepare. As we prepare for hurricane season, we wanted to take some time to talk to those who have firsthand experience forecasting, covering, and reporting on storms right here in North Carolina. Right now, we want to talk about how a warming climate is making storms more threatening. Gary, let's start with you. While hurricanes are commonly associated with the coast, many parts of central and western North Carolina have been hit hard by past storms. Joining me now, meteorologist Doug Lindsay, Matthew East, Noel Ream, and Chief Meteorologist Jeff Crum. Jeff, let's start with you. How can hurricanes affect inland North Carolina? When you hear about how dangerous a hurricane can be, you're probably used to hearing the word category to describe its severity. But even if a storm is on the lower end of that scale, such as a Category 1, that does not mean you should take it lightly. Meteorologist Scott Dean, Nate Harrington, Brittany Hamilton, and Chris Thompson are with me now to talk about why you should take every level of storm seriously. And I'm sure you all have seen this firsthand with your decades of experience. Scott, let's start with you. The VFW post in Boone is one of about 140 across the state, which you see on this map on the VFW Department of North Carolina's website. And you can see just how many there are around the country. The VFW and VFW Auxiliary has 1.5 million members and more than 6,000 posts worldwide. And we know North Carolina has a large military and veteran presence. In fact, according to the North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, our state has more than 96,000 active duty troops and nearly 22,000 Reserve and National Guard troops. I want to show you on this map from census.gov some of the other poverty rates in the state. In Mecklenburg County, 11%. In Guilford County, 13.3%. In our state's most populated county, that's Wake County, it's 7.4%. Now, this is not the only beltway or loop project that we're talking about in the state. I have 3 others that I want to tell you about, including one in Greensboro, the Raleigh area, and in Fayetteville. The state does not keep data on the number of water rescues that occur each year, but I reached out to North Carolina Emergency Management and found out it does provide money, training, and equipment for swift water teams, which are all operated by local fire departments and rescue squads. These are some photos right here of training that North Carolina Emergency Management shared with me. They were taken at the Catawba Search and Rescue Exercise in and around Burke County in April. Well, Taylor, we heard there from Nichols' mom. She mentions protests and the possibility of that. You're in the heart of downtown Memphis. What does security look like there right now, and how will the potential for protests be handled? Today is about paying respects to Deputy Byrd and remembering his life, remembering his service to the community. I do want to touch for a moment on this case. Amanda, you were also there in the courtroom yesterday. You saw a large show of force there from the law enforcement community in the courtroom. And I know you spoke with the District Attorney Lauren Freeman also yesterday about this case. So while I want to keep our focus on remembering Deputy Byrd as we wait for the funeral to begin, I do want you to just get everyone up to date on where we stand with this case. And the governor repeating what he said last night, which is that this is infuriating, a tragic act of gun violence. And, you know, he made the point, too, that this is the city that he lives in. Raleigh is where he and his family call home as the governor. And he woke up in the capital city this morning with deep sadness for his community and all the people, of course, who live here. We want to go now to one of our live reporters who have been checking in with all morning. Our Heather Fordham is in the community there. Heather, I'm not sure if you heard some of what was happening there in that news conference, but what can you tell us about the scene out there this morning? First, we want to take a quick look back at what happened when those lives were lost here on October 13th, 2022. Police say a 15-year-old began shooting as he moved from his own house through the streets of Hedingham, down the Neuse River Greenway, and into a wooded area. 5 people died that day. We're marking 6 months since that mass shooting here in the Hedingham neighborhood of Raleigh. And we spoke with Wake County District Attorney Lauren Freeman about where the case stands against the accused shooter, 15-year-old Austin Thompson. We know Thompson was in critical condition after police say he shot himself before being captured. Freeman tells us factors such as fitness to stand trial usually delay these kinds of cases. An investigation is underway into what caused an apartment fire in Raleigh. That blaze on Shanda Drive destroyed nearly a dozen apartment units and displaced 21 people. As that investigation continues, the Red Cross is helping the families who lost their homes with whatever they need, and that includes providing temporary housing, meals, clothing, and other items. We're also following up on a couple of big court cases in Wake County. The Raleigh police officers who shot and killed a man who they say threw Molotov cocktails at them will not face criminal charges. In a decision shared yesterday, the Wake County District Attorney says the, quote, use of force in the death of Raul Rodriguez Nunez was not unlawful. And this comes after the investigation into the May attack found Rodriguez Nunez repeatedly threw cups with ignited flammable liquid at officers, despite commands to stop. And one of the men accused of killing Wake County Sheriff's Deputy Ned Byrd says he's innocent. According to a court document, Arturo Sotelo's lawyer argues that he was not at the scene of the shooting. Instead, it says Sotelo was working in a field, heard gunshots, and then called his brother to find out what happened. His brother, Alder Sotelo, is also charged in Byrd's death. Both brothers are currently in jail without bond. Welcome back, 7-Eleven. We'll get to weather on the ones in seconds. But first, a quick shout out to Mills Park Middle School in Cary. I spoke to 8th graders there this week as part of their career fair. It was their first one since 2019. And I spoke with them about what we do here each day at Spectrum News 1 and my own experiences over the past 2 decades in this career. So a great group out there. They had a lot of great questions, and I really appreciate them having me out. Chocolate and chip, 2 turkeys being pardoned right there at the White House. 2 North Carolina turkeys, we should mention, from the Circle S Ranch. I'm blown away. You heard there Ronnie Parker, who's the chair of the National Turkey Federation, and he raised these 2 turkeys there on the ranch in Monroe. And he said that they raise 9.5 million turkeys a year right there on that ranch alone. This picture is going to make you say, oh dear. Well, it's priceless. This would be worth a lot of dough if you tried to
How long have you been sitting on this?
Just a few seconds. And again, great picture. I hate to keep fawning over it, but it's just wonderful.